So I'm streaming last night, and the craziest shit happens. I am sitting there with, like, no viewers in chat at halftime. My channel hasn't gained any subscribers in God knows how long. And then, like, a blessing from the heavens. Well, I'll just show you. Roll the clip.
Getting rated? I'm getting GPS rated? What? Oh, you guys! You guys! I missed the raid! Right now, I am in shambles, you guys. What? Thank you all so much. I'm speechless, you guys. Thank you so much, GPS. Thank you, GPS viewers.
And those that stuck around were treated to amazing calls throughout Monday Night Football, just like this.
Gonna uncork this down the middle. Marvin Mims! Run, Marvin! What a shot downfield! Fits it in to a tight window between two Browns defenders. And just like that, Denver extends their lead 93 yards for Marvin Mims.
So, just to up the community post and then the Blue Sky post that I made about it earlier, I just want to thank Tom Grossi, Brandon Perna, and all of GPS for the raid and for the support. I deeply appreciate it. And now, okay, enough gushy stuff. We do have a game to talk about. I said I would have this episode out today, so here we go. So, the raw numbers from this game tell an interesting story. I'm going to nail down the Broncos unit stats first, then we'll do full game stats, and then we'll dig into the analysis. Broncos offense. It was a day that happened. Bo Nix goes 18-35 for 294, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. QBR of 41.4, rating of 65.7. Jaleel McLaughlin has the best Broncos rushing day in weeks. Honestly thought he was going to get the 100 there, but alas, Denver is now 30 games without a 100-yard rusher. It's fine, it's whatever. Jaleel, 14 of 84. It was an all-right day for him, all things considered. 6 yards a carry, and he really found his groove there at the end of the game. Receiving-wise, Marvin Mims, 3 catches, 105, and a score. Cortland Sutton, 6 for 102. He was Nix's security blanket all day long. Franklin gets 2 balls. Kroll gets 3. Adkins, Vele, and Javante get 1. It was an interesting day offensively. I'll get into that in a little bit. We have more counting stats here. Denver's defense, again, I'll get into them in a minute. I'm just telling numbers. Wallace with 8 tackles. Cody Barton also with 8. PJ Locke with 6. Jaquan McMillan with a pick 6. 5 tackles. 4 passes defended, by the way, I would like to add. Justin Stranad with 4 tackles and a pass defense. Zach Allen, 5 tackles as well. Pat Surtain comes in with 4 tackles and a pass defense. Jonah Ellis with a sack and 4 tackles. Devon Key, 4 tackles as well. DJ Jones, 4. JFM, 4. And I believe he was in on a sack. He definitely has a quarterback hit on that one. Jonathan Cooper, 3 tackles and a sack. You got Malcolm Roach with 3 tackles. Brandon Jones in the 3-tackle club. Dondre Tillman comes in with 2 tackles. Benito with 1 tackle, 1 sack. He had 2 passes defensed. He had an interception and a return as well. And it was so much fun to watch the Broncos defense at the end of the game. It was fun in a couple of different ways. We'll get into it, I promise. A couple of offensive players had tackles in Vele and Mims. Damari Mathis, Jordan Jackson, and Chris Abrams-Drain all bring up the 1-tackle club. I did forget to mention the Cody Barton interception. Marvin Mims wasn't able to get a whole lot going in the return game, punt return-wise. Only 1 return for 10 yards is what it is. Lutz is 2 for 2 on field goals. He was nails when we needed him. And Riley Dixon was just booting the shit out of the ball, changing field position when we needed it. He had a long of 61, goes 5 punts for 256. That is an average of 51.2. He had 3 of those inside of the 20. Riley Dixon had an amazing night punting. And yeah, all right. We got some analysis to get into. I'm trying to go over this like it's a live stream because I thrive on off the cuff, running it how it is. And maybe one day, you know, I'll have to script things. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's get into the analysis bits. So, like, offensively, the raw numbers say that it was a surprisingly good day, actually. Denver goes for 400 total yards. They go 6 for 13 on third down, which we have seen much worse this season. I know we've also seen better, but 6 for 13 is not the absolute worst you can do on third down. They go 6.6 yards per play and actually average the same amount that Cleveland did, just on roughly 20 less plays, give or take. So once again, Denver goes for 294 total passing yards. Nix does not take a sack, obviously with the 2 picks, and that's going to be factored in. Nix wasn't super efficient either, and that does factor into the offense not having its best day. Once again, you know, through the 2 picks, but the offensive line needs a lot of credit here. No sacks surrendered. They did have some penalties that were kind of shots in the foot. I can name 2 that Bulls had off the top of my head on an illegal formation and a hold call on what was like a 12-yard Javonte Williams run, or Jaleel McLaughlin, sorry. And then you had the Luke Wattenberg personal foul, which I'm going to let that one pass a little, because we got a 93 fucking yard touchdown out of that shit, okay? I'm not going to be too mad. Denver averages as a team 4.1 yards on the ground with 106 yards total, although really Jaleel McLaughlin did do the heavy lifting as alluded to before. Red zone, they were 2 for 4 in there. Could be worse. Could be better. Denver has been better. And they did lose the time and possession battle. They won the turnover battle. It was an interesting game on that front. I am excited. There are some implications here with some of the plays that were happening, because I think teams are going to take notice of Marvin Mims finally, man. I mean, like, not just with the way Sean Payton has been using him, although he's been using him in really unique ways, but I'm excited to see what that explosiveness can do for Marvin Mims and to see if that carves him out a slightly bigger role in the offense. I know a lot of people early in the season were clamoring for Marvin Mims to get more snaps, and now he is getting impactful snaps. He is making impact plays, and he has been these last couple of weeks, so it'll be exciting to see how he's factored into the offense going forward, especially now with a bye week to self-scout. With that being said, I would like to see maybe a couple more tosses, you know, Vele's way. I know Franklin had a couple of targets as well that didn't go according to plan, and I am just waiting for one of these long bombs from Nix to Franklin to connect. Because, man, the day it happens is going to be like the rapture. Just like euphoria washing down every fiber of your being as it runs in slow motion. It's going to be like a damn movie or an NFL 30 for 30. Ball's going to hit his hands like 4 different times that we're going to see it. And then the world will end on a good note. It'll end on a good note, I promise. Anyways, offensively, I mean, it was a solid enough day. Don't get me wrong, but the offense alone, if you subtract definitely one of the defensive scores, I mean, you still win the game, but it's a lot closer. You take away both of those defensive scores at least. Maybe they still find some points there off of the interceptions. Of course, we are not playing with hypotheticals because these are the things that happen. Denver won the game, and the offense did enough to set the defense up to make those plays and for those plays to be really impactful. Overall, offense is going to get probably something close to like a C+ for me. The turnovers I don't love. One of them was kind of fluky. The other was just like a jump ball. Marvin Mims gets mossed. They looked inefficient at times. They had a lot of times in that game where they were just kind of stuck in neutral, and it felt like it was big plays that sparked them, that got them moving at all. So I'm not mad. I just would have liked to see a little more consistency, but overall, a win is a win. I'm not going to be as harsh here. Good enough job, offense. you did what you had to. But now we get to where it's going to hurt. So get ready. Because I am These are probably going to be close to the things that I would have said after the Miami game last year. But we're not going to talk about that one. We have a new worst defensive game from the Broncos to talk about. And I'll start you out real simple. It's to the tune of 5-5-2. So we're going to get the biggest bugaboo out of the way first, because I know that we as Broncos fans are thinking the same thing. Levi Wallace was a liability in coverage last night, and there was no denying that. I feel bad for the guy, but at the same time, it's like, holy hell, man. Holy hell. Gave up a shit ton of yards when he was in coverage of Jerry Jeudy and even Elijah Moore at times. And it just, like, we knew that Levi Wallace was a downgrade, but if anything, if anyone should be getting a game ball out of this, it's Riley Moss, because he just showed how valuable he is to the team. And I bet that gets a lot of contract leverage when that comes around. This game right here, everyone saw what happened without Riley Moss on the field. Like I said, Wallace was a liability in coverage. He was getting carved up like a Thanksgiving turkey, which is fitting for... We're not quite a week removed from Thanksgiving yet, so I get this one here. I get this one here. Anyways, it was a bad day for Levi Wallace and a pretty rough day for Denver. Anyways, they do end up with a couple of sacks here, so I'm not going to feel too bad about it. Jonah Ellis gets one, Jonathan Cooper gets one, and then I believe Nick Bonito also got one. So good for them. But, man, the rushing defense was actually okay. I'm not even going to lie here. 23 attempts, 77 yards, 3.3 yards per carry. Nick Chubb did get a receiving score at some point. So the rush defense showed up for sure. And it was the pass defense that was getting torched all night. And as much as we have loved Vance Joseph this year, all of the he could have had, you know, World War I over by Christmas jokes with how good of a defense he's calling, he waited until way too late in the game to get A, somebody else out for Levi Wallace, and B, to put Pat Surtain solely on Jerry Jeudy, and that honestly should have been Pat Surtain's responsibility for the entire night. A, these are two guys that know each other very well, so Pat's going to know his tendencies. But B, put your best corner on their best receiver. What? like, why wouldn't you do that? Another note, too, and another thing that pissed me off is how much zone Denver was playing. And I get that Jeudy is definitely a man-beating type of receiver. But at the same time, it's like you can't almost solely rely on zone. I saw the zone they were playing on from TV coverage while I was streaming. So it's like you've got to find... You can't let something like this happen again. Patrick Surtain is your highest paid player besides that is currently playing on the team, and he is by far your highest paid defensive back for a goddamn reason, and that is to shut down every team's number one. And Surtain was not on Jeudy enough, who has been Cleveland's number one. Now we look outside of that, because as much as I really want to tear this defense apart, man, 552 total yards. They gave up 28 first downs. The Browns weren't amazing on third down. 9 for 19, just slugging pretty much in the same ballpark Denver is, just under 50%. They did just have more volume there in that department. They ran a lot more plays too. They ran 23 more plays than the Broncos did. So you don't love to see that defense out for 84 plays. But I mean, all things considered, like, it was so bad, but it was so good because of how they were able to step up in the end. You get the Nick Bonito pick six, you get the Jaquan McMillan pick six, and then you get the Cody Barton pick to put it to bed once and for all. So despite having a completely just awful day, and that is in huge part, again, to Levi Wallace, which, I mean, I'm sorry, man. I hate to harp on you like this. I hope you've had a good Tuesday and that you've stayed away from the media. But Levi Wallace was one of the biggest liabilities for Denver last night. It's not even close. And really just like the whole effort here, it's like if I have to slap a grade on it, it's like the turnovers and the points. Yes. Beautiful. You gave up 552 yards. You almost gave up 500 passing yards. I can't grade this much better than like a D. Just because, and especially because Vance Joseph did not make the needed adjustments soon enough. I don't understand why Wallace was allowed to cover Judy as long as he was, but whatever. A win's a win. That's partially also why why I'm giving him a D here, because it wasn't a great effort, but they made the plays when they needed to right at the end of the game. I believe all of the turnovers were second half turnovers. I could be wrong there, but I do know 2 pick sixes, another pick to seal things. I can't completely dismiss what the Denver defense did, despite my want and emotional need to completely rip them apart. So defense will get a fitting D grade for giving up 500 plus yards, and they're saved by the turnovers and the points, is pretty much where we're at. So with the Chiefs and Bills claiming 2 of the playoff spots during Week 13, that leaves 5 spots to go, and Denver currently holds 1 of them. They are tied right now with the Ravens at 8-5, and they will, we'll see how the Chargers are able to do to see if they get a game lead here or not. But right now, 5, 6, and 7 is pretty much a deadlock tie. Denver is sitting at 7 without a lot of key tiebreakers over the Ravens, over the Chargers right now. But they are still firmly in the 7th spot with the Colts 2 games behind, also going into a bye week. Finns are, I want to say 2.5 games back. They'll get that half game back, or they'll lose it this week. Bengals are pretty much out of it with 8 losses. Browns are definitely out of it now. And then Jets and Titans might as well be eliminated, all at 3-9. Denver controls its own destiny here, and if they can continue to pull out these rough games, even when they're not playing at their best, then they can certainly have this thing locked up by, I think, Week 15 or 16 at latest. This team is capable of winning tough games. This is a different team than it was a month ago, 2 months ago. This team has real potential, and I do think they can win a playoff game. I've held steadfast on this stance all season long, and the way things are right now, Denver is in a very good position to lock up this 7th playoff spot. 76% is their playoff chance right now, so you are better than a coin flip right now, and it is just wonderful right now, man. So yep, once again, just real quick recap. Colts are 2 games behind. Dolphins are 2.5 games behind. Bengals are in a 3.5 game hole at the moment. And you got the Browns 3-9, Jets 3-9, and the Titans 3-9. So the Broncos with a multiple game cushion here going into the Week 14 bye. This is their playoff spot to lose. But with that being said, thank you for watching another episode of Crushin' It. It was a joy having you all here. The stream last night, absolutely sick. Thank you all for watching that as well and for bumping me up however hard I got bumped. I appreciate all of the support. If you liked what you saw, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below to let me know what you think. And I will see you all in the next video. I'll probably stream Thursday night, and then probably pick a random game on Sunday to stream, just with Denver not having a game this week on the bye. Still got to find a way to make content, is what it is. I'll see y'all the next time we are on camera. Keep crushing it, Broncos country. Keep believing that this playoff spot is ours, and I'll see you next time.